Have you ever opened your refrigerator and felt proud, thinking, everything's nice and fresh in here? Most of us do. After all, we were taught that the fridge keeps our food safe, tasty, and lasting longer. But what if I told you that some of the most common foods in your fridge, foods you probably eat every single week, are actually losing their flavor, their nutrients, and in some cases, even becoming harmful? Today, we're talking about something you might not expect: 10 everyday foods you should never store in the refrigerator. Yes, you heard that right, foods that should never be chilled. Not because it's trendy advice, but because science and experience both say the fridge is the wrong place for them. Why does this matter more as we get older? Because taste changes, our digestion becomes more sensitive, and preserving the nutrients in our food becomes more important than ever, especially if we're managing health issues like diabetes, high blood pressure, or digestive problems. But don't worry, this isn't a lecture. It's a warm conversation between us, like friends chatting in the kitchen. I'll walk you through each food, explain the why behind it in plain English, and give you simple, practical ways to store them right. Some of these might surprise you. Some might even make you say, "Oh, I've been doing that for years." That's okay, we're all learning together. So grab a cup of tea, make yourself comfortable, and let's discover how to keep our food and ourselves healthier, happier, and full of flavor. Before we begin, I'd really appreciate it if you liked this video. It helps me keep sharing more important lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I highly recommend hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Also, if you enjoy this video, please comment 1. If you don't, comment 0 so I know how to improve. Now, let's get started. Food number 1, bananas. Bananas are one of the easiest, most reliable fruits around, naturally sweet, packed with potassium, and ready to eat without any prep. But storing them in the fridge is a quick way to ruin their flavor, texture, and ripening process. Bananas are tropical fruits, and they don't do well in cold environments. When exposed to refrigerator temperatures, their skins turn brown or black almost overnight. While that might make them look overripe, the inside often tells a different story. It's still firm, starchy, and underripened. That's because the cold stops the ripening process in its tracks, leading to a banana that looks spoiled but tastes off. This chilling injury also damages the banana's internal cells. Even after taking it out of the fridge, the fruit never fully recovers its natural sweetness or softness. So, what's the best approach? Keep bananas at room temperature, ideally hanging on a hook to reduce bruising and allow airflow. If you want to slow down ripening, store them away from other ethylene-producing fruits like apples or avocados. Now, if your bananas are getting too ripe and you can't eat them fast enough, don't refrigerate, freeze. Peel them first, slice if you want, and store in an airtight container or freezer bag. Frozen bananas are perfect for smoothies, baking, or mixing into oatmeal. You can also mash ripe bananas and freeze them in small portions for banana bread or pancakes later on. The takeaway: the fridge is not your banana's friend. Let them ripen naturally on the counter for the best flavor and texture, and freeze the extras to reduce waste. It's a simple shift that keeps this everyday fruit tasting the way it should: sweet, soft, and satisfying. Food number 2, tomatoes. Tomatoes are a kitchen essential. Sliced into sandwiches, tossed in salads, or simmered into sauces, they add color, texture, and a fresh burst of flavor. But if you're storing them in the refrigerator, you're unknowingly stripping them of what makes them so good. Cold temperatures interfere with the natural ripening process that brings out a tomato's full sweetness and aroma. The fridge literally shuts down the enzymes responsible for developing flavor, leaving you with a tomato that's dull, mealy, and bland. You might not notice the difference right away, but over time you'll start wondering why your tomatoes don't taste like they used to. That loss of flavor is only part of the problem. Refrigeration also reduces the level of lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that supports heart health and may help lower the risk of certain cancers. For people who are aging or managing health issues, maximizing the nutritional value of every bite really counts. The good news is proper tomato storage is easy. Keep them at room temperature, stem side down, and a single layer if possible. This helps reduce moisture loss and allows them to ripen naturally. If they're still a bit firm when you buy them, give them a few days on the counter and they'll come into their own. The only time a refrigerator should come into play is if the tomato is fully ripe and you're not planning to eat it right away. Even then, let it return to room temperature before eating to recover some of its flavor. Tomatoes are meant to be juicy, vibrant, and full of life. Storing them right ensures they stay that way, making every bite more satisfying and every meal a little better. Food number 3, olive oil. Olive oil is more than just a cooking ingredient. It's a staple rooted in tradition, health, and flavor. Whether you're drizzling it over salads, cooking vegetables, or dipping fresh bread, high-quality olive oil, especially extra virgin, is something worth treating right. And that starts with proper storage. One common mistake people make is keeping olive oil in the refrigerator, assuming it will help it last longer. In reality, refrigeration does more harm than good. Cold temperatures cause olive oil to solidify and turn cloudy or develop waxy white lumps. While it's not spoiled, the texture becomes unpleasant and difficult to use. Repeatedly moving it between cold and warm environments can also subtly change the flavor over time. Worse, refrigeration can introduce condensation inside the bottle. Even a small amount of moisture can cause spoilage, especially since oil and water don't mix. That extra moisture can encourage bacteria growth and shorten the oil's shelf life without you even realizing it. So what's the right way to store olive oil? Keep it in a cool, not cold, dark place, like a pantry or cupboard away from the stove or direct sunlight. Use a dark glass bottle or stainless steel container to protect it from light, and always make sure the lid is tightly sealed to prevent oxidation, which can turn the oil rancid. Stored properly, olive oil retains its smooth texture, rich taste, and heart-healthy antioxidants for months. It's one of those ingredients that deserves a little care, not just for better cooking, but because it represents a tradition of nourishment and simplicity. So skip the fridge, treat your olive oil with respect, and it'll give back in every meal, every time. Food number 4, potatoes. Potatoes are a staple in nearly every kitchen, mashed, roasted, fried, or baked. They're the ultimate comfort food. But storing them in the refrigerator is a common mistake that can quietly ruin their quality. When potatoes are kept in cold temperatures, the natural starches inside them begin to convert into sugars more rapidly than they should. This doesn't just change the taste, making them oddly sweet or gritty, it can also have health implications. Cooking these sugar-laden potatoes, especially at high heat, may lead to the formation of acrylamide, a chemical that has been linked to potential cancer risks in long-term studies. While one batch of fries won't harm you, it's a clear reminder that how we store our food matters more than we think. Refrigerators are also humid environments, and moisture speeds up spoilage. Cold, damp conditions can cause potatoes to become mushy, grow mold, or develop an off smell. The better alternative? Store your potatoes in a cool, dark, dry place, like a pantry, cellar, or cupboard. Use breathable materials like a paper bag, mesh sack, or basket to allow airflow, and avoid sealing them in plastic, which traps moisture. Another key tip, keep them away from onions. Onions release gases that can cause potatoes to sprout or rot faster. These small changes in storage can make a big difference, helping your potatoes last longer and taste better. It's not just about keeping them edible, it's about preserving their flavor, texture, and safety. A simple shift in where and how you store them can turn your potatoes from bland or spoiled back into the hearty, wholesome favorite you love. Food storage doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be thoughtful. Food number 5, onions. Onions are the backbone of countless recipes, adding depth, aroma, and flavor to everything from soups to stir-fries. But storing them in the refrigerator is a habit that does more harm than good. Onions contain natural sugars and starches that don't react well to cold, damp environments. When placed in the fridge, those sugars become more active, which can cause onions to soften, turn slimy, or even grow mold. The cold also alters their flavor, sometimes making them overly sweet or unpleasantly sharp. And then there's the smell. Onions are notoriously pungent, and when kept in the fridge, that strong aroma doesn't stay contained. It seeps into everything nearby, from berries to butter, giving your food an unwanted oniony undertone. The better way to store whole onions is in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated space, like a pantry or cupboard. Avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and speed up spoilage. Instead, opt for mesh bags, paper sacks, or open baskets that let air circulate freely. One more important tip: keep onions away from potatoes. While it might seem convenient to store them together, potatoes release moisture and gases that make onions spoil faster, like a silent feud happening in your kitchen. Now, if you've already peeled or cut an onion, that's when the fridge is useful, but only if it's tightly wrapped in plastic or sealed in an airtight container. This keeps the strong smell contained and prevents it from affecting other foods. Storing onions properly isn't just about keeping them fresh, it's about preserving their flavor, reducing waste, and making your cooking more enjoyable. A little attention to how you store them goes a long way in keeping both your kitchen and your meals tasting their best. Food number 6, garlic. Garlic is one of the most beloved ingredients in the kitchen, bold, aromatic, and essential to everything from pasta sauces to roasted vegetables. But when it comes to storage, the refrigerator is not garlic's friend. Cold temperatures encourage garlic to sprout, producing green shoots that are bitter and can ruin the flavor of your dish. The fridge's humidity also promotes mold and softening, causing garlic to spoil faster than it should. On top of that, garlic is highly absorbent. It can take on the smells of other foods around it, which can make it taste strange or off. The best way to store garlic is simple: keep whole bulbs in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space. Use a mesh bag, paper sack, or an open basket to let air circulate freely. Avoid sealing garlic in plastic or closed containers. It needs to breathe. When stored this way, garlic stays firm, flavorful, and ready to use for weeks. Once you break a bulb and start using individual cloves, try to use them within a few days for the best quality. If you've already chopped or crushed garlic, you can refrigerate it for a short time, but only if it's tightly sealed in an airtight container. Just be cautious. Garlic stored in oil can be a risk for botulism if not refrigerated and used quickly, usually within a week. The key is dry, breathable storage for whole bulbs and careful handling once it's prepped. Garlic deserves better than a cold, damp corner of the fridge. When stored properly, it keeps its signature punch and continues to bring warmth and depth to your meals. It's a small adjustment in your kitchen habits that makes a big difference in flavor, freshness, and safety. Food number 7, avocados. Avocados have become a kitchen favorite for good reason. Creamy, rich, and packed with heart-healthy fats, they're perfect on toast, and smoothies, or sliced into salads. But storing them in the refrigerator too soon is one of the most common mistakes people make. Unripe avocados need room temperature to ripen properly. That's because they release a natural gas called ethylene, which triggers the ripening process. When you put an unripe avocado in the fridge, this process gets interrupted. The result? A fruit that stays hard on the outside, rubbery or black on the inside, and never quite ripens. In short, a wasted avocado. So what's the right move? Leave unripe avocados out on the counter and let them do their thing naturally. Want to speed it up? Stick them in a paper bag with a banana or apple. These fruits also release ethylene and can help the avocado ripen faster. Once your avocado is ripe, that's the time to put it in the fridge, but only for a day or two. Any longer, and the texture starts to break down, becoming stringy, watery, or bland. For cut avocados, extra care is needed. The exposed flesh reacts quickly with air and turns brown. To slow that down, brush a little lemon or lime juice on the surface and store it in an airtight container. That citrus not only preserves color but helps lock in flavor. By understanding how avocados ripen and react to cold, you can make sure you get the best taste and texture every time. It's a small shift in habit that helps you get the most out of a fruit that's not just trendy, but truly nutritious and satisfying. Food number 8, uncut melons. Melons, whether it's watermelon, cantaloupe, or honeydew, are refreshing, hydrating, and naturally sweet. But if you're storing whole melons in the refrigerator right after bringing them home, you're cutting short their potential in both flavor and nutrition. Like many fruits, melons continue to ripen after they're picked. This off-the-vine ripening enhances their sweetness, juiciness, and overall taste. However, when you put a whole melon in the fridge too soon, cold temperatures stop that process cold, literally. What you end up with is fruit that's less flavorful, more watery, and sometimes even grainy or rubbery in texture. Watermelons, in particular, suffer from this chilling effect. Their crisp texture can break down when exposed to too much cold, making them mushy instead of snappy. The same happens with cantaloupe and honeydew. The sweetness fades and the texture turns dull. But the loss isn't just in taste. Studies have shown that melons stored at room temperature have higher levels of antioxidants like beta-carotene and vitamin C, both of which support immune health and healthy aging. So what's the best approach? Keep whole, uncut melons on the counter until they're fully ripe. Let them ripen naturally at room temperature to get the most out of their flavor and nutrients. Once you cut into the melon, then it's time for the fridge. Wrap the slices tightly or store them in an airtight container, and eat within 3 to 4 days for the best quality and safety. In short, melons need warmth, not cold, to reach their full potential. A little patience on the counter makes for a much better bite later. It's a small change that brings out the best in a fruit that deserves to shine. Food number 9, bread. Bread is one of the most familiar and comforting foods in our kitchens, whether it's a slice of warm toast in the morning or a hearty sandwich for lunch. But keeping your bread in the refrigerator to make it last longer is actually doing the opposite. While it seems like cold air should help preserve freshness, refrigeration speeds up a natural process called retrogradation. That's when the starch molecules in bread start to crystallize, causing it to dry out and go stale much faster than if it were left at room temperature. So instead of staying soft and chewy, refrigerated bread quickly becomes tough, crumbly, and unappetizing. It doesn't stop there. Fridges can also mess with bread's texture in another way, adding moisture. The result? A loaf that's dry on the inside but soggy on the outside. Not exactly the kind of bread anyone looks forward to slicing into. So how should you store it? If you plan to eat your bread within a few days, keep it in a cool, dry place like a bread box or pantry. Leave it in its original packaging or in a paper bag that allows just a bit of airflow, enough to prevent mold without drying it out. For longer-term storage, freezing is the way to go. Slice the loaf first. If it isn't already, then freeze it. That way, you can pull out just what you need. Toasting or warming up frozen bread brings it back to life, soft, flavorful, and close to bakery fresh. Bread has been a staple for centuries, and with a little attention to how it's stored, it can stay just as satisfying as ever. The fridge may be great for leftovers, but when it comes to bread, skip it. Food number 10, honey. Honey is one of nature's most remarkable foods, naturally sweet, shelf-stable, and packed with healing properties. It's been used for centuries, not just as a sweetener, but also as a natural remedy. But despite its long shelf life, many people mistakenly store honey in the refrigerator, thinking it will keep it fresh longer. In reality, the fridge does more harm than good. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize more quickly, turning it thick, grainy, or even solid over time. While crystallized honey is still safe to eat, it's much harder to scoop, spread, or stir into tea, and it loses some of that smooth, golden texture people love. Refrigeration can also introduce unnecessary moisture into the jar, especially if the lid isn't tightly sealed. That moisture can lead to fermentation, which alters both the taste and safety of the honey. Though rare, it's a risk not worth taking, especially when honey is so easy to store properly without the fridge. The best way to store honey is simple. Keep it in a tightly sealed container at room temperature, away from direct sunlight and heat. A dark cupboard or pantry shelf works perfectly. Even if your honey crystallizes over time, you can easily restore it by placing the jar in a bowl of warm, not boiling, water and stirring gently until it returns to its liquid form. Honey is naturally antibacterial, doesn't spoil easily, and, when stored correctly, can last for years, sometimes decades. In fact, archaeologists have found honey in ancient tombs that's still edible. So skip the fridge, seal the jar tight, and let honey do what it's always done, stay sweet, safe, and ready to brighten everything from breakfast to bedtime tea. As we grow older, we start to understand that the little things, how we care for what we have, how we pay attention to the everyday, matter more than we once realized. This isn't just about food storage. It's about slowing down and doing things with intention. Each item in our kitchen has its own needs, its own rhythm. Respecting that reminds us that life, too, has seasons. Some things need time and warmth to mature, just like we do. Others thrive in open air and patience, not pressure and cold. In a world that rushes us toward convenience and quick fixes, there's something grounding about returning to common sense, to the quiet wisdom of experience. We were taught by parents, grandparents, and life itself to listen, to our bodies, to nature, to the way things used to be done, not because they were old-fashioned, but because they worked. Taking care of something as simple as a loaf of bread or a head of garlic isn't just a chore, it's an act of care, of presence. These small rituals remind us we still have control, we still have value, and we still have the power to nurture not just others, but ourselves. So let's not overlook the everyday. Let's embrace it, honor it, and use it to reconnect with our health, our memories, and the wisdom that's always been in our hands. Thank you for following us till the end. Don't forget to show some love by clicking the like button and subscribe. This supports the channel and allows me to continue creating content for you. Leave your thoughts or comments below. Feel free to express yourself and stay positive. See you next time.